Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll learn how to set up the ThinkorSwim platform for futures trading. We're also going to cover how to place futures trades, find initial margin requirements, and a few of the other important but basic things you're going to need to know about futures trading before you actually get started. Now, jumping right into it, we're going to get started with how to actually set up the platform for trading futures. And to be honest with you, you can do this from pretty much any screen on ThinkorSwim. Whether we head over to the charts page and use the charts tab itself, or if we head over to the flexible grid, you could throw in a future symbol up here in the top left-hand corner. We could also head over to the trade page and head on over to active trader. We could even use the Forex trader if we wanted to. But since it makes the most sense, we're going to use the futures trader in today's video. Now, when you come here, and remember it's the trade page and specifically the futures trader sub-tab, when you open it up for the first time, it's going to look like a mess. There's a whole lot of things in here right now that we're just not going to be using on a daily basis, and especially since there's like 15 grids in here, it's just too much to look at. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and come up here to the top right hand corner where you see all these little squares. Go ahead and click on that. From there, you're going to see a little menu pop up with all of the different grids that we can open, and we're just going to click on one, so we just have one single chart. From there, I want to go ahead and uncheck all of these tabs that are currently open, which currently is just the trade button and the dashboard down below. Now the next thing we need to do is actually go ahead and click on chart, so we open up a chart on the left-hand side. And you're going to see right off the bat it opens up an S&P 500 mini chart, and we've got a couple studies down here below. And the very first thing we're going to go over in today's video is how to actually set up a few studies on the futures trader. So to do this, we're going to come up here to the little beaker icon up at the very top. Go ahead and click on that. From there, we're going to go ahead and delete the studies that are currently in here, which right now is open interest and a custom study for IV rank and IV percentile. We're going to go ahead and delete those, click on the X buttons on the right-hand side. And the studies we're going to add today are going to be the simple moving averages, the RSI, and the MACD. Now to do that, we're going to come over here to the little search box on the left-hand side, little black box. All we have to do is click in there, and the first ones we're going to search for is simple moving average. So go ahead and type in the word simple up there. Find simple moving average down below, double click on it. And since we're going to be adding the 50-day versus the 200-day, we're going to go ahead and double click on it one more time to add two lines to the right-hand side. To edit these studies, because we don't want them both to be the 9-day moving averages, we're going to come over here to the right-hand side and click on the gear icon. We're going to go ahead and highlight this number 9 and type in 50 because we want to replace it with the 50-day moving average. If we wanted to change the appearance of the line itself, we would come down here. In our case, we're going to leave everything the same, and we're even going to leave the color as that tealish blue color, and we'll just go ahead and hit OK. Next up, we're going to adjust this second one. Go ahead and click on the gear icon, make this the 200-day moving average. And we're also going to change the color of the line to like this yellowish gold color and hit OK. Next up, we're going to search for RSI, find it, double click on it, and we're going to find MACD and add that one as well. And that's it. Those are the 4 studies we're going to add to the right, and we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, right off the bat, you can see the 50-day versus the 200-day moving average up on the top of our chart. We've also got RSI and MACD down below. Now that we've got the chart set up a little bit, let's go over how you can actually find future symbols within the platform. The easiest way to do it is come up here to the little drop-down menu where you currently see ES and click on that little drop-down menu. From there, you're going to find the sub-tab marked Futures. It's going to show you every single available futures contract as well as the tick size, tick value, and initial margin requirement for that contract. So you can see I currently have /ES, and remember, every single futures contract within ThinkorSwim is going to have a / right in front of it. In the case of the S&P 500 minis, you can see it's got a tick size of 25 cents, and that's the smallest increment at which it moves. Every single one of those ticks, so every 25-cent move is $12.50, and the initial margin requirement for this contract is $15,812, which if you're new to futures trading is very, very high. Only a couple years ago, before the whole COVID thing, this would have only been like $6,000 for initial margin requirements. This is basically the amount of money you have to have segregated in order to place just one single trade for one contract. But if we were to scroll through this list, we could see a lot of other contracts available to us. If we go down to the M's, we also have micros available. Let's find those. M. Yep, right here you can see the micro ESs. Just like before, they have a 25-cent tick size, but each tick is only going to make or cost you $1.25 instead of $12.50 like on the ES minis. And the initial margin requirement is only going to be $1,581. Basically, this contract is a tenth of the size. So if you're just getting started with futures, you might want to check out the micro versions of each of these. The micro ESs, the micro golds, the micro Bitcoins, just so you're not risking as much when you're first getting started. Now, these tick sizes, tick values, initial margin requirements, those can all be a little bit confusing when you're first getting started, especially since they can all be different from one futures contract to another. So one thing you can do is actually add a custom script within your chart. So anytime you pull up a futures contract, it's always going to tell you the tick size, tick value, and the multiplier for each one of these contracts. Now for me, I've already got this script loaded inside of my platform, so all I have to do is find it in my studies window right here. For you guys who do not have it, I'll go ahead and post the script down below in the comment section. All you guys have to do is copy it, come over here to create, and paste the script right here in the little dialog box. Then make sure to give it a name that you can easily recognize, and then you're just gonna add it like any other study. So in my case, let's go ahead and cancel out of this. I've named it notional value. So we're gonna come over here to the search box and type in the word notional, and it's right down here below. I'm gonna go ahead and double click on it, and I can see it's been added to the right, so we'll go ahead and click OK. And you can see a custom label is now in the upper left-hand corner of my chart, showing me the tick size for ES, 25 cents. The tick value for each one of those ticks is $12.50. The multiplier is $50, so basically every 1 point move is gonna make me or cost me $50. And the notional risk for one contract is $228,150. Basically, that's how much of the S&P 500 I'm controlling with just one single contract. And what's cool about this label is if I were to come up here and switch it to crude oil /CL and hit enter, you can see it then adjust to show me the tick size for crude oil is 1 penny. Every penny is gonna cost me or make me $10, which means every point, every $1 move in oil is gonna cost me or make me $1,000. And the notional risk for this contract is $83,910. Now, like I said before, if you guys wanna add this yourselves, go ahead and check out the comment section, copy that script I wrote, go over to the studies and create your own and just paste it in there. You can also change the color of this thing if you wanted to. If you don't like that bright purple, you can really make it any color you want. But it's a super useful tool going forward, so you don't have to memorize all of these contract variables. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go over how to actually place a trade on a futures contract in here. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of different ways. Probably the simplest and maybe the most straightforward is just simply clicking on the price up here at the top. So you can see right now, one crude oil contract is currently trading for $84. That's the current value of it. We're gonna go ahead and click on that value. We're gonna come down here to buy, and we're gonna say single. Once you do that, all it does is bring up an order ticket down here at the bottom of your screen. We would then fill it out just like any other order ticket. We wanna buy one contract of the crude oil December expiration at $84.03, the current price. We wanna use a limit order, and we want that order good for the day. You would just fill it out just like normal. If you wanted to place a market order, we could go ahead and switch this from limit to market. If you wanted this order to trigger another order to go out there, just like anything else on here, you could come down here to advanced order where it says single order, click on that, and we could go to first trigger sequence, which would then say we want this order to trigger a second order to go out there. Maybe to sell it at a profit if it goes up to, let's say, $90 a barrel. But this is just one way to place a trade on a futures contract inside here. And it's probably not gonna be the way that you guys do it if you're gonna be actively trading futures. The way most of you guys are probably gonna be trading futures is using the active trader. So come on back up to the chart, put your mouse on the right-hand side, and you're gonna see a menu over here with all of these different tabs that you could add to your chart. Now, I doubt you guys are gonna use most of them, but the most popular one is gonna come up quite a bit. We're gonna click on the active trader and open that up. Now, once you open it up, it is gonna throw off your chart. It goes to a 5-day, 5-minute chart by default. We can go ahead and double click on our chart to zoom back out. But most notably, you're gonna see this big menu pop up on the right-hand side over here. Now, let's go ahead and change it before we get started explaining it back to ES, just a product I'm more familiar with. And you're gonna see that this active trader shows you a lot of information, and it can be used in a lot of different ways. Now, I've already made a video on this a little bit more in depth. If you guys wanna check that out, I'll link it down below, and I'll put a little info card up here if you guys wanna check it out. But let's go over the basics of what this active trader can be used for. First off, right off the bat, in this first column, you're gonna see a volume section. This is gonna show you how many contracts were traded at a certain price today. So if we came down here, we can see 4,559.75. There have been 4,104 contracts traded at that price. And it's probably hard to see on this screen, but there are gonna be different shades in here. You can see a different shade of blue to the left of this shade of blue. And what that means is that trades were happening at different hours of the day. So every different shade is a different hour. I doubt that's gonna be relevant to the vast majority of you guys, but it's something to keep in mind. Now the second column here is going to be buy orders, which is just the open orders that you have resting out there to buy the contract. The third column is going to be the bid size, and if you see down here, you're going to see a whole lot of numbers listed down below. These numbers are going to be open orders to buy the futures contract. So right here, if we come up to 45.61 spot 50, now spot 25, you can see that there is an order to buy at least 101 contracts currently. Now it's going to be changing constantly because remember, these are open buy orders at a specific price. Now right in the middle, the price section, this kind of speaks for itself. It's just the price of the underlying stock or futures contract in this case. And the highlighted number is the most current value of that futures contract. So it's currently trading 45.61 spot 50. But you're going to see it move around a whole lot as the futures contract changes in price. Now just to the right of that is the same thing, but on the sell side, these are going to be open orders to sell the futures contract. So this is an open order to sell 165 contracts at this price. And that doesn't have to be a single order. These could be a bunch of orders stacked on top of each other. But remember, it is open orders, not filled orders, open orders. And to the right of that is going to be your open sell orders. If you had an order to sell one contract at 45.63 spot 25, you would see it right here telling you what you're trying to do. Now quickly, we'll go through how to actually use some of the buttons on here. If you come up here to the top, you're going to see buy market, sell market, and a few other buttons to the right of that. What I want you to do is click on this little arrow to the left of buy market. That's going to open up a sub menu, which gives you a lot of different options. First off, you're going to see how many contracts you're actually about to trade. In our case, I've got +1 in there, which means anytime I click on a button, like if I were to click on buy market, what I'm saying is I want to buy one contract at the market price. If I was to hit sell market, I'd be selling one contract at the market price. So to change the number of contracts I'm trading, I need to change this number right here. For example, I could go ahead and type in the number 2. Now I'm trading 2 contracts at a time. I could also quickly taper up or down how many contracts I'm trading by clicking on these numbers right here. All it does is change the number of contracts in this box. In our case, we'll go ahead and go back to 1 just to be careful. And the other buttons up here at the top, the cancel button will cancel any working orders you have on this futures contract right now. So if we had an open order to buy one contract at 4,500, if we hit cancel, it's going to cancel that order. The reverse button will reverse whatever position we currently have. So if we owned one contract and we hit reverse, we would instantly go short one contract. Basically, it's going to sell the one contract we have at the market price, then sell one additional contract at the market price. The flatten button is going to completely get you out of whatever you're currently holding. So if we had 5 contracts of ES, we hit flatten, we're going to sell those 5 contracts at the market price immediately. It's also going to cancel any working orders that we have on ES. So if you ever get confused, you're thrown off, you don't know what's going on, you can always hit the flatten button and it'll completely get you out, cancel any working orders you have on that contract. Now right below that, we didn't go over it, but you see this template button that currently says single. If it says single, what you're saying is I only want one trade to go out there. If I hit buy market, I just want to buy one contract at the market price. That button allows you to create more advanced orders. For example, trigger with bracket, we could say we want that opening order to trigger 2 other orders to go out there. Now by default, it's saying I want to sell one contract $1 above the current price, and I want to get stopped out $1 below wherever I get filled. So for example, if I was to hit buy market right now, what I'm saying is I want to buy one contract immediately, wherever I fill at, let's say I fill at 45.60, I then want an order to go out there to sell it $1 above, which would be 45.61, or stop me out $1 below, which would be 45.59. And since this is an OCO bracket order, whichever one of those sell orders fills first, if the stop fills, the limit order fills, doesn't matter, whichever one fills first, it's going to automatically cancel that other order. Now, since futures are so leveraged, you guys are probably going to use this quite a bit. You definitely want to have your protection out there, your profit-taking order out there, just so you don't have to watch it so closely. And because there are some pretty volatile swings in the futures prices, you don't want to have unlimited risk out there or near unlimited risk. Now, the last thing we'll talk about up here on these top buttons is this auto send button. If you have this button checkmarked, anytime you click on a button in here, it will instantly submit the trade. If we hit buy market, an order to buy one contract will instantly be submitted. No confirmation. If you hit sell market, you're instantly going to sell one contract. Again, no confirmations. That makes the active trader the absolute fastest way to trade in ThinkorSwim, but if you're not careful with it, you can make a lot of dumb mistakes. So definitely practice with this thing. Check out my active trader video before you start using this super heavily. Now, finally, you can also place limit orders and stops using this ladder down here below. If you put your mouse to the left-hand side in the little green box, this is how you're going to place limit orders if you put it below the current price. You can see right now my mouse is at 45.58 spot 50, and it says I want to buy one contract with a limit price at that value. If I were to go above the current value, you're going to see that it automatically switches to a stop. So the system kind of auto-recognizes the type of order you should be using depending on what price you're trying to place the order at. If I went to the right-hand side, the sell column, it's going to default to a limit order above the current price. So right now it's saying I want to sell one contract at 45.64 with a limit price. If I go below the current price, it's going to default to a stop order. Now, one last thing before we move on from this page, if you look up here at the top where you see the bid size, position flat, average price, that's going to show you what you currently have in the account at this very second. So if we had bought one contract, you would see this change from position flat to one contract right here. The average price column would tell us what we own that contract at, and then P&L open, P&L day would actually show us how much we're up or down on that contract. Now, if you're going to be trading futures, I definitely think you're going to be using the active trader because it is the fastest and easiest way to trade on here. But some other things you're going to use, let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. And some other things you're going to use is potentially the time and sales. So we'll go ahead and click on that to open it up. Now, we talked about these columns before on the active trader as the open orders. So open orders to buy or sell at certain prices. The time and sales window is actually going to show us trades that have already been filled, already been completed. So we can see here somebody bought one contract at 45.61 spot 75. Somebody just sold one at 45.61 spot 5. It's moving very, very quickly, but again, these are filled orders. Now, you could also adjust this if you only wanted to see trades that have filled, let's say, greater than 3 contracts at a time. So we're getting rid of all those smaller trades. We're basically just saying we don't want to see them. We only want to see maybe the larger trades that have happened. But let's go back to all sizes just to reset this. And that's pretty much it for the charts. If you're a fan of this and you like the way that you set it up, just make sure you save the grid. So you just come up here to the little square in the upper right-hand corner, and we would save grid as if we wanted to save this as a template. Now, the reason you do this is in case this ever gets reset and you don't want to lose all your progress, or if you want to quickly switch from a maybe 1 grid layout, which is what this is, to a 4 grid layout. So you can look at 4 different contracts simultaneously. And that way you can always come back to this thing very easily. You don't have to set it all up again. So saving the grid is definitely an important part of what we're doing here. Now, if you wanted to actually add additional grids to this, let's say you wanted to look at ES while also looking at the NASDAQ futures, we could come up here to the square in the upper right, go to 2 charts, let's say one on top of each other, and we're going to throw the NASDAQ down here below. So /NQ in this case. And we are going to need to edit this just like we did the other one. And there we go. We've got the S&P minis on the top and the NASDAQ minis down below. Now that we've covered the bulk of the customization in the Futures Trader, let's jump on over here to the side panel. Now this side panel can be customized to show you pretty much whatever information you find most important. For me, you can see I've got my account info up here so I can actually see what is my account worth, how much money do I have to spend, what kind of margin balance do I have. Right below that, you can see live news. So I'm looking at news articles, all that mention Facebook right now. And right below that, I've just got a couple watch lists. Now, the first thing I would do if you're going to be trading futures is to actually make a futures watch list. Now, to make a watch list, let's go ahead and click on the options watch list right here. And we're going to click on create a watch list. From here in this little pop-up window, let's just go ahead and name this one our futures watch list. We'll just name it futures. And we'll go ahead and hit save. Now, to add symbols to this watch list, all we have to do is come down here to the little black box below the word symbol and start typing in the symbols we want to add. So in our case, I'm going to add the most popular futures and really the ones that I'm actually going to be trading on probably a daily basis. That's going to be things like ES, which is the S&P 500 minis. We'll go ahead and down to the next one. I'll add /YM, which is the Dow Jones futures. I'm also going to add the NASDAQ futures, which is NQ. And I'll add the Russell 2000 futures. And just because I like to keep aware of it, I don't really trade oil very often, hardly at all really, but that's going to be /CL. And we'll also add gold, just because it's always nice to keep an eye on gold. Now, like I said before, every single futures contract inside of ThinkorSwim is going to have a / in front of it. And as a reminder, if you need to find the actual symbol for what you're looking for, you can always come over here to the drop-down menu. Come over to futures, and you can just scroll through this list to find what you're looking for. Now, one other thing we could add on this side panel is going to be Trade Flash. So come down here to the bottom left-hand corner and click on this little plus sign. From there, we're going to search for the gadget called Trade Flash. Here it is. Go ahead and click on that. Now, if you've seen some of my past videos, this thing actually shows you a lot of information, usually just unusual activity, whether it be on options, futures, stock, that kind of stuff. In our case, we're going to be using it for futures, so let's go ahead and edit it. So go ahead and click on this little shopping tag icon, and we're going to uncheck all and just check large futures trades. That way we'll be able to see if there's any large futures trades out there that we want to be aware of, and we'll go ahead and move this a little bit just to fit it in here. And you probably already noticed, but I also have all of these little gadgets linked together, and right now they're linked to the color red. So if we wanted to, we could come over here to this chart up here at the top and also link it to red. That way this watch list, this live news gadget are all linked to this chart. So if I was to click on gold here, /GC, my chart on the right automatically changes to the gold contract, as well as the live news up here is only mentioning articles that have some relevance to gold. If I was to click on /CL for crude oil, changes to crude oil, and it's only going to show me news articles that have some relevance to crude oil. Now that about wraps everything up for today's video. Hopefully this answered all your guys' questions around setting up the platform for futures trading, finding and understanding initial margin requirements, and some of the other helpful tools that'll help you along with your futures trading. If I did miss anything or you guys have any additional questions, please leave them down below in the comments. And please don't forget to hit that like button if you did find this video useful. It really helps out the channel. And as always, I hope you guys all make some money this week, and I'll catch you all in the next video.